Hey guys! I hope that you guys are doing amazing wherever you are in the world. My name is Boomshika and I welcome you to my channel. I'm so grateful as always that you guys are listening, subscribing, and commenting on my channel. I appreciate the support. In this video, I wanted to speak to you guys about something a friend of mine said which really resonated with me. It's kind of funny, but it's also true. And she said 99 problems, but loneliness ain't one. And she said this in regards to the fact that her parents always worry about her. She's also living in Chiang Mai by herself and traveling around the world, roaming about, doing her thing. And her parents obviously always worry about her, saying that, what if you're lonely? What if you're by yourself? And she said to me, she said, I have 99 problems, but definitely loneliness is not one of them. And it really resonated with me because I have the same reaction to when people say that to me. What if you're lonely when you're older? What if you're lonely when you're living by yourself right now in the middle of nowhere without any friends around? What if you're lonely when you're traveling by yourself? What if you're lonely when you don't have a partner? And yes, of course, companionship is awesome. Friendships are awesome. Relationships are great. And family is nice to have. And all of these things are good. And I'm glad that I have them in my life. I have family, I have friends, I have companions. And it's nice to have all that stuff. But absolutely I never fear being lonely in any situation, ever. That's definitely never been one of my concerns. No matter what I do, I've never actually feared being lonely, or even now, being alone by myself in this country. I have friends and all that stuff, obviously, but most of my time, I would say 95% of my time is spent by myself, roaming around, doing my own thing. I have never felt a smidgen of loneliness. Right? And I never used that as an excuse to think, oh yeah, I should get into a relationship and get married and have kids because I might be lonely in my older life, in my older days, when I'm older. And I think to myself, that's never ever been something that crosses my mind. And my mother exactly is the same as my friend's mother, and my parents are exactly the same. They always worry about me. And one of their main worries, they don't worry about anything else really. Well, a couple other things, that I'm not eating well and that I'm unsafe, but mostly they worry about the fact that I'm lonely. And I really laugh at that, actually. It's really funny to me when people are like, oh, aren't you lonely? And I think to myself, how in God's name, how can I, in this world filled with fascinating things, people, experiences, all of these different things that I'm working on, all the creative projects that I'm working on, all these imaginary worlds that I live in to create the worlds that I work on in my novels, all the different people that are around me all the time, and I'm walking through these cities, how, in God's name or in the universe's name or whatever it is, how can I ever be lonely in this situation? Loneliness is something I believe comes from the inside out. It doesn't come from the outside in. Perhaps I've spoken about this previously, but to me, it's extremely important that people understand that you could be in a crowd of people who know you, who are your friends and family, who surround you, who talk to you. You could be surrounded by all these people and still be the loneliest person on this planet. The loneliest person on this planet. Or you could be by yourself in your room, doing your own thing, reading a book, in your imaginary world, staring off into space, and be the happiest little person in the world, not lonely at all. Right? And so I've noticed this for myself in the past when I was in my 20s and I was surrounded by family. I always had people around me. I went to work. I did my normal daily routine. I felt so lonely at that time. I used to feel all the time I'd be sitting there around people, or at a bar surrounded by hundreds of people, at a club surrounded by hundreds of people, or at a fair, or just people around me all the time, people I knew, people I didn't know. And I'd be sitting there or standing there thinking to myself, wow, I feel so lonely right now. I feel so alone. I don't want to be here. I don't feel good. I don't feel like I'm surrounded by people that I want to be surrounded by. I felt so freaking alone at that time, right? It was just something that was coming from within me. It wasn't anything that was being caused by anything outside of me. It wasn't because the people around me were terrible people who were making me feel lonely, or it wasn't because the people around me were tainted in some way, or whatever it might be. There was no reason for it to come from the outside in. It was coming from within me. And it was because at that moment in time, I didn't love myself. I didn't like spending time with myself. by myself, alone, because I hated myself. I despised myself, actually, I should say is the better word for it. I did not like anything that I did. I didn't like the life I was leading. I wasn't strong enough, in my opinion. I wasn't doing the things courageously enough that I wanted to do. I wasn't taking on the roles or challenges that I wanted to take. Everything was a complete mess, basically, in my head, in my heart, in my spirit, in my soul. And because of that, I hated myself. I didn't like being by myself. And that made me feel lonely. Right? Now, obviously, it's a full circle, I guess. Or not, maybe. But I feel like I've come to a place where I do love myself more than anyone else on this planet. I love being by myself more than anyone else on this planet. I just love being on my own, being in my head, being in my imaginary worlds, being by myself, just not even doing anything. I'll just be sitting there staring off into space, and I'll just giggle to myself and say, oh my God, I'm having so much fun. I really do talk to myself like that, though. But it's just because I just love spending time on my own with myself. I am my best friend right now. I am truly my best friend right now. And I really do love hanging out by myself. It just makes me so happy and not at all lonely. Not even a little bit. Not even a tiny little bit. Not even a smidgen little bit, right? And I think maybe that's what happens to people or in situations in general, is that, when we are lonely when we are younger, it's because of the fact that we haven't developed that sort of relationship with ourselves. We don't love ourselves. We perhaps even hate ourselves. We don't like spending time with ourselves, by ourselves. And so we kind of allow a lot of people around us. We kind of bring a lot of people into our vicinity, relationships, partners, noise. We have the TV on all the time because we're afraid of being alone in the silence, or the radio blasting all the time, or things like that. Because we're afraid of being by ourselves within our thoughts, because we know if we are alone and in the silence, all of this shit's gonna come up and it's gonna make us feel terrible. It's gonna make us reevaluate our life. It's gonna make us realize we're not living the life we want to lead, all of that stuff, right? And that was obviously the case for me. Every single time I was by myself in the silence, I realized this voice would come up. My soul basically was speaking to me saying, you're not living the life you're supposed to be leading. You're living someone else's idea of a life for you. Why are you doing that? You're stronger than this. You can do this. You can go fight the battle. You can live the life that you want to lead. And my soul would, tap me on the shoulder or tap me on the heart, tap me on my head, and say these things constantly when I was by myself, right? Because it really wanted to express itself and live its life the way that it was meant to live, right? It was really, really, really desirous of it. Really wanted it badly, extremely badly, right? Extremely badly, that's not a right way to say it. But anyways, it wanted it. And so it would constantly be talking to me. And I wanted to ignore that voice. I was like, no, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. I just want to live this normal life, this 9-to-5 boring ass life, which does not fulfill me. I just want to just live this life because it's easy. I don't want to fight the battle. I don't want to fight with my parents. I don't want to fight with my family, my friends, my relationships. I don't want to fight the world, society, government. I don't want to do all that stuff. I just want to live a boring life that's not fulfilling, but be all right with, or surrounded by all these people because they're fine with me living a boring life just like they're fine with living their boring lives, right? Unfulfilling lives, I should say. And so I was like, no, I don't want to hear these words. And so I would switch on the radio, I would switch on the TV, I would go out clubbing and have the music blasting in my ears so I couldn't hear that voice anymore. I would go out to a bar and flirt with random guys so I wouldn't be able to hear that noise anymore. I'd have sex with random guys so I wouldn't be able to hear that voice anymore. I'd drink myself into a stupor so I wouldn't be able to hear that voice anymore. I would eat a lot of really disgusting food, delicious, disgusting food, so that I wouldn't be able to hear that voice anymore. I'd sleep a lot so I wouldn't be able to hear that voice. And things like that. I did a lot of that. But of course, the voice kept on saying, no, this is not right. You're supposed to be living a different life. La 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 la. Kept on going over and over again for a decade. For a decade, guys. That's how persistent your soul is when it wants to do something and you're not allowing it to live the life that it wants to lead. It will be extremely persistent. It's like water dropping on a rock, it just keeps on dripping, drip, 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 over and over and over again until you listen to that voice. And then when I turned, I think 28, I would imagine, I think that's the age. I think that's the age when I was really, that's when I was like, all right, that's it. That is it. Because all of a sudden I was 28 and I realized I hadn't done anything that I really wanted to do with my life that I really wanted to do. I'd done a lot of different things based on other people's ideas for me, but I hadn't really done anything that I really wanted to do with my life, right? And I realized I'll be 30 soon. And you know how that's like, all of a sudden it's like a wake-up call. I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna be old and I haven't done anything. And I was like, I'm gonna be 30 soon and I might be dead soon, and who knows what the hell's going on. Especially the way I was living, I would definitely die early. And so I was like, all right, cool, Shikha, so what are you gonna do about this? Are you gonna keep on ignoring this damn voice, or are you actually gonna do something about it? And so I did something about it, obviously. And I'm living this life right now where I don't hate my life. I'm living a fulfilling life. I'm doing the things I want to do. And that voice isn't like tapping me on the shoulder anymore as often as it did before. And again, I don't hate myself. And again, there's no loneliness. There is no loneliness anymore, guys, because I'm fine being by myself. And I love being by myself because I am my own best friend. I don't need anyone else, really. It's nice to have people around me, and I do have lots of people around me all the time. Well, not all the time, but a lot of times. I have friends, I have family, and a lot of people who love me, and I'm grateful for that. And I have you guys, and I'm really grateful for that. But even if I did not have anyone, and I'm lucky to have all you guys, but even if I didn't have anyone, I would still not be lonely because I have myself, right? So 99 problems, but loneliness ain't one. And I love that, and I wanted to share that with you guys. All right, if you guys have any questions at all about this video or any other videos, please message me anytime. My contact information is in the description below. And I shall see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.